Everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to start promptly at 7 o'clock. This is Mr. Wells. I'm testing the audio on our Collaborate session. A number of things that you can do in preparation is while we're waiting for everyone to join in, you want to go ahead and temporarily mute yourself in case there's any background noise that might interfere with the overall session itself. Muting is quite easy to do. Just next to your icon of your individual name, you can just click on the little controls and mute yourself. Or at the very bottom of your screen, there is the microphone where you can mute yourself. And of course, if you're calling on the telephone, you could just click the mute button on your phone. In terms of chat, in the chat dialog box, at the very bottom right-hand side of your screen, there's like a little pink circular oval shape with a little white arrow pointing to the left. If you click on that, it'll open up a control panel. You have a chat box. You also have the participants listed. And so at this point in time, if everyone can go ahead and open up their chat box, and if you can hear me, you can use an emoji, give me a thumbs up, give me a smiley face. If you can't hear me, give me a sad face, give me a thumbs down. Let me know that you can hear me or can't hear me. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Of course, during our session at any point in time, you can ask a question. Don't hesitate to interrupt me. I'm happy to answer any questions as we progress along. In addition, if you would rather type or chat your question, that's of course very appropriate as well. Either are fine. We will try to stick to the hour time frame. This is being recorded, so don't worry if you miss something. You can go back, of course, and ask or watch to get the information that you missed. And from there, of course, if you have any additional questions, I will stay on a little bit later, of course, and also email is very appropriate. So as we draw close to the 7 o'clock time frame, waiting for any other last participants to join in, and then we will certainly begin. Just before we begin then, just a couple of words. If by chance you have some connectivity issues, sometimes it's always good to log out and log back in. Not a horrific thing to do. It's easy as just canceling out or quitting the page you're on and then reconnecting. That sometimes helps with connection issues. And then, of course, as I've stated, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to stop to ask. I'm going to go ahead and start and provide the basic information. A nice welcome to all. We may have some faculty or other advisors, supervisors join us this evening. I'm hoping that they may be able to chime in or connect with us. If not, not a problem. It's us and you all providing the information that you will need to make a preliminary decision as to if the year-long residency is right for you. And so if we do a bit of background, which probably is a great place to start, as to why the residency was created and why we are moving forward with such a emphasis on residency and why we have it as an option here at Wilmington University. During 2010, a very clear white paper was constructed by what was then called NCATE, was the National Council for Accreditation of Teacher Education, and NCATE clearly indicated in this proposal, this white paper, that the environment to clinical practice was flawed, that there are some significant issues that clinical preparation by teacher preparation programs across the country were poorly defined, were inadequately supported, that had significant issue, if you will. They're indicated clearly as well that many states, unlike Delaware, had minimal requirements when it came to clinical components, or what we all know as student teaching. And in the state of Delaware, the minimum required time is 10 weeks. 10 weeks to become a student, a teacher in the state of Delaware. Now, of course, not one teacher preparation program in the state of Delaware follows those minimal guidelines. All, if not all, most, but all, follow a semester-based format. University of Delaware, Wesley, DSU, and ourselves, of course, follow a very semester-based approach to student teaching. However, even this, as research states, is not a significant enough transformation to what was, or what is thought of as an effective practice or strategy to prepare teachers. And so this report, submitted and supported by various individuals, indicated that a new instructional model that provides teacher candidates much needed training and support, which would lead to differentiation in the roles between mentor teachers, educators, candidates, was needed. It was absolutely necessary that the state of clinical practice change. Now, I'm going to say that doing my own research and working within this particular profession, not much has changed for many years. We're talking 50 to 100 years, that most clinical programs, teacher prep programs, have focused on a very similar model that has been existing for a very long time, and that is a mentor teacher to a candidate in a student teaching kind of environment. And so it's important that everyone who is listening understand what it is the year-long residency is, how do we define it, what is our vision, our mission within the residency model. So this option provides you, the candidate, the opportunity to experience the entire school year. So imagine, if you will, if you're a year-long candidate right now, you have already been in that classroom since August, before the children arrived. And you already knew the mentor teacher because you had gone through an extensive interview selection process. And you had already met that teacher numerous times and gotten to know him or her, traded emails, cell phone numbers. And over the summer, you had talked about and planned what this school year was going to be like. And imagine then setting up his or her classroom again in August before the children arrive. And then, of course, greeting the arriving children once the school year begins, and going through the entire academic year together with this individual mentor teacher all the way to June. And within that time frame, you as the candidate are aligned to the practice of the building, what is engaged in terms of instruction in the classroom. You are in effect a co-teacher and are introduced as such to not only the faculty and staff of the school, the parents, and the students. You are not a student teacher in this program. You are, in all effect, a first year teacher, because the strength and the uniqueness of this particular program allows the candidate to become the co-teacher, in which you do master the entire approach from beginning to end. The idea here is that we focus in a year-long residency option within co-teaching practice. That means from day one, when the school selects the candidates for the residency option and candidates are engaged and assigned to the certain schools, and the mentor teacher begins to work with the candidates, they begin to focus in on how a co-teaching environment can be creative. Now, we primarily use the four main areas that you see right now, which is supportive, parallel, complementary, and team teaching. Now, I don't need to sit here this evening and teach this to you. What you need to understand at this particular time is that you are not sitting and observing at all. You are fully engaged. You are actively involved. You are from day one a partner with this teacher in his or her classroom. Yes, you are still learning and growing. Yes, you will have much to experience. Yes, this mentor teacher will guide and facilitate and lead you along the continuum of the academic year. But it's within an understanding that you will be engaged and you will be a part of this team. Now, the elements of co-teaching are very, very structured. It's a team-based approach. Yourself, your other peers at the school, the mentor teachers that are part of the residency option, you work together in identifying what is best for the school, the children, via the curriculum that is being taught, whether it be at the elementary level, which is all subject area, or it's at the middle or the high school level or secondary level with a specific content area. You would have specific time to work with the mentor teachers in engaging in this practice, deciding what is best and how it should be implemented. Co-teaching essentially allows for a unique experience between two individuals to provide the best services to children that are being served. Now, the co-teaching model, how it's implemented, when to be used, how to work with your mentor teacher, we do this for you through professional development. Once candidates are selected for the year-long residency option, there is professional development that is given to the candidates on a variety of things, variety of levels. Co-teaching is one of them. So don't worry if you have questions as to what is this co-teaching model. Just roughly know what it is right now in terms of how it's implemented as a team approach to teaching. But think of it as I'm going to be getting more detail and I'm going to be provided training so that I'm successful during my academic year. Currently in the state of Delaware, we have the following districts with residency sites. In Red Clay, currently, we have Ritchie Elementary, Shortledge Elementary, and Skyline Middle. In Capital School District, we utilize North Dover, and we've added Town Point Elementary in Capital School District. In Colonial School District, we have McCullough Middle and Eisenberg Elementary, which will be starting in fall of 2018. At Paquidemic is Cedar Lane Elementary, and Indian River, we have had the most growth in terms of settings. We have East Millsboro Elementary, we have Georgetown Middle, and Indian River High School. Now, It is our intent and purpose to obviously maintain these sites because they have worked with us over the course of the past 4 years in terms of our residency option. And so a bit of a history in terms of the year-long residency option within these sites. We started in fall of 2014, and within those Within 2014, we had 9 particular students who joined. Then 2015, we moved up to 11. 2016, we had 25. And now this year, 2017, we have 27. So we are increasing, improving. First question of the evening, Miriam, are you going to get more high schools to be a part of the year-long residency? Absolutely. And Red Clay, we are either looking at AI DuPont and or Dickinson High School. In Colonial, we are looking at William Penn Elementary. William Penn High School. Sorry about that. In Capital, or I should say Caesar Rodney, we're looking at Dover High School. Appoquinimink is one where we'd like to expand to the high school level if feasible. Indian River, of course, we already have at Indian River High School. So the first question, very good. So additional questions. Are there any schools outside of Delaware? Olga, it's an excellent question. At this moment, no. We have to partner with the surrounding states. New Jersey at this particular time is a state that we have to be very cautious with partnership. They are constructing a residency requirement as a state initiative, and as such, we need to partner with the state level first. I do not foresee us moving into New Jersey in fall of 2018. Pennsylvania has bargaining agreements or collective bargaining agreements that prohibit us at this point in time to moving to the state of Pennsylvania. Maryland may be the state in which we feasibly could be moving into as a residency option, but it depends on the number of candidates that are interested. We must approach the idea as a residency where we want to engage in other states, but it depends on the number of individuals who would be going to that particular state. In terms of high school, Arizona and Alyssa, Dover High School next fall, Caesar Rodney. Arizona, we did have Dover High School last year. That was a solid placement for a candidate. We could be interested in Dover as well. Caesar Rodney High School has always been on the radar, Alyssa, in terms of placement options. The idea tends to follow the same parameters with Olga's question. It depends on the number of candidates that we have. If we have more high school students, we would love to integrate those secondary candidates at the high school level. Jordan, question, what are schools you're partnering with in Brandywine School District? At this particular time, Jordan, we do not have an agreement or partnership agreement with the Brandywine School District. We are hoping to have that by fall of 2019, but not for fall of 18. So, Megan, excellent question. Is there a special education student teaching options, or is just this elementary ed? No, this is all programs. So this would be elementary, middle level 6 to 8, secondary 7 through 12, and special education. We need to remember, if we're a special education student, an MSE candidate, that you are a content-specific individual. So Megan, as an example, if you could either chime in via voice or if you'd like to type it in, what is your content area, Megan? Where are you going to be teaching at? Which level?
I wanted to do elementary ed, but I'm special ed, and I'm getting my certification in autism as well as my master's in special ed.
Okay, so here's a brief then also, Megan, thank you, some information that you will all find very helpful. All of you are obtaining your primary certification in a content area. So such as Megan, her primary content area will be elementary education, because that's where she's going to be teaching. She'll be teaching at the elementary level. All of you are either going to be one of those categories. You're going to fall into elementary ed. Your primary certification will be middle level at a content area. Maybe it's mathematics, and maybe your secondary level and you're going to be teaching science. That will be your primary. Now your secondary could be special education. For Megan, as an example, it will be. She will be both a special education candidate and also an elementary education certified teacher. She'll have then that ability to work within, in addition to her autism certification, an environment that provides services to both regular education, special education students in that level of autism as well. So Megan, to answer your question, then you're able to engage at any of the elementary sites that would be closest to you geographically, because you would then be placed in a special education setting working with children at that level. Caitlin, question. For the Indian River School District, if there were to be a lot of people doing the year-long residency next fall, would you expand with more elementary schools within the Indian River? Absolutely. It is in our intent to expand this program as much as we possibly can. You will be all visited, by the way, because the majority of you are in practicum. I know a few are not. However, the majority of who are present this evening are in practicum. You will be visited on October 4th by past graduates. They've just graduated, or they are in the process of they just finished up and are now teaching, and they are all year-long residency graduates. They're graduates. They're going to come speak to your practicum class on October 4th about the benefits of this particular option. And the reason why we want to expand this option is because we know the strength behind it, and we'll get to those strength items or benefits in a few minutes. So yes, Caitlin, the answer is yes. Miriam, is the university working on expanding to the VOTEC schools for students focusing on? Absolutely, absolutely. We would welcome, Miriam, a VOTechnical opportunity. Again, it's all about the number of students at the secondary level. It's also, more importantly, the willingness of the VOTEC school itself and or the district. For example, Newcastle County VOTechnical system is a wide-ranging system with multiple schools versus Polytech, which is its own standalone, or Sussex Tech as an example. But yes, we're always interested in finding out more possibilities for this particular option. I cannot guarantee you that we will move into the VOTEC option, but that is something that we would explore. Yes, Brianna, you bring up a great question. Yes, I have, in fact, a couple of those individuals, candidates who graduated, who will have a video recorded session, and we'll be providing that to the online course as well. At this time, Melissa, Milford School District is not a partner. We do not foresee us moving into Milford in any time frame. There have been some changes at the district level. We're looking at a combination of changes at the HR level, curriculum level, that have placed us on a hold, if you will, pattern. Again, we're always looking, but I do not foresee them this fall. These are wonderful questions. Don't hesitate to keep them coming. so that we can move on also. And again, at any point in time, you would ask a question. I'm happy to respond. Your program aligns from fall to spring. From fall to spring, meaning fall 2018, which would primarily be middle of August, is when you would begin. Your Practicum 3 and your respective methods courses are facilitated during this semester. Now, this is something that you want to think about in a kind of conceptual framework, if you will. You do not take classes. You do not, you will register for Practicum 3 and methods because it has to be on your transcript, but you do not physically take a class during this academic year at all. The mentor teacher at the residency site is the professor, is the instructor. Those individuals who are in that school site teach, if you will, the competencies, the items that need to be taught during the day at the schoolhouse. So here's a good example. At East Millsboro Elementary in Indian River, the teachers there who are our adjuncts and, if you will, the instructors of these courses guide you through practicum and methods through the whole entire academic year. And who better to learn from, of course, than these mentor teachers? So you want to think of this as coursework that you're registering for and you take, but you don't physically attend campus. You don't physically engage in coursework, but you're guided through the process. Let me put a stop. I got a couple of questions. James asks, are online students with availability to attend your October 4th class? If so, time and place. James, absolutely. James, are you Newcastle, Kent, or Sussex County? What's your location? And Paige, what if I finished all my methods? Next year I'll have only take practice. Of course, Paige, we offer this as a flexible option. The only agreement that you, I mean, the only stipulation, Paige, you would have to agree to is you would not have to retake the methods courses, meaning you would not sign up for them again. What you would have to do, though, is go through the process of engaging in methods competencies with the mentor teacher. So you'd have to do the work that's assigned and aligned to methods during the residency. So you would not be free of that, but you would not have to retake and re-register and repay for the methods courses. So James, in terms of that location, James, if you email me this evening, I will align you to Mr. Lou Girton. Mr. Girton is a Practicum 1 instructor in Newcastle, and I'll let him know that you're going to attend his class session. I'll get you his location times, and I'll also give you his email so he can connect with you. Angela, I presume we're all still required to complete all the task stream? Absolutely, absolutely. Everything that is aligned to task stream, coursework, those assignments are all required. You still have to upload, you still have to complete everything, yes. Now, the way that we then continue into your spring semester, so that's January, February, March, April, May, June, is that you are then engaging and you are registered for student teaching and the clinical assessment course, or we complete clinical assessment at this time. Two purposes to this. Obviously, one, per the state of Delaware for licensure and certification, you have to have student teaching on your transcript. Without it, you can't get a job, you can't get licensed, you can't get certified. So it has to actually physically say student teaching. The clinical assessment component in the spring aligns to what you are learning about right now in Practicum 1 or 2, wherever you are, is the PPAT, or the Exit Performance Assessment. Year-long residency candidates take the Exit Performance Assessment in spring, or January, February, March, and April. You would engage, though, in all of the processes connected to the PPAT in the fall, so that you're prepared to take the exam in spring. And so what we have found in terms of implementation last year with our year-long residency candidates, that they were among some of the highest scoring of the PPAT because they were in a setting all year round. They got to know the children better, they got to know the students, they got to know the environment, they understood curriculum better. So this is a beneficial component in terms of the PPAT and the clinical assessment that's aligned to the spring semester. In terms of our requirements for you, and this is a little bit old, so you can remove now the Praxis 1 or the Praxis Core. As many of you have heard, Praxis Core is no longer required by the state of Delaware. They removed that requirement over this summer. Praxis 2, in the content area in which you are going to be certified, must be passed by the October timeframe of the residency option. By that I mean, as an example, our residency candidates who are in the residency option right now, this year, this academic year, they have until October 15th to pass Praxis 2. So the idea here is to get in and get done before you begin the residency option, or to get in and get ready to take that examination during the summer into the fall semester so that you can maintain your status within the residency option. Of course, just like student teaching, there is the requirement of a new health form, CBC, CPR, TB. That can be done and given to us in November into December of the residency year. And of course, per your requirements, we talk about and prepare you for time frame and expectations. So what that means is for us is dedication and commitment. That's part of what these meetings are all about, is to provide you the information necessary and the details necessary so that you are understanding what your expectations are, the time frame and the commitment necessary to commit to this particular program and option, and what it is that you will be getting out of this option as well. Julia, excellent question. Do we have to take Praxis 2 before we start Practicum 2? Not at all. I would recommend, and you will hear me state, you will want to take Praxis 2 in Practicum 2. So take Praxis 2 while you're in Practicum 2. It will prepare you much better in terms of time frame for the year-long residency. If I completed Praxis 2 years ago, do I need to take it again? So Megan, I'm so sorry to ask this question. Was that the Praxis 2 in special education or the Praxis 2 at your secondary content level? Or was it both? As Megan replies, both. Excellent. And if they're past, Megan, you're fine. You do not need to retake Praxis 2. Folks, candidates, when you are done Praxis 2, you've passed it, you are done. There's no need to worry about those things anymore. A word for our elementary and elementary K to 6 candidates. Undergraduate K to 6 and master's degree, undergraduate, sorry, K to 6 and undergraduate 6 to 8. I apologize, sorry. If I have candidates with me this evening that are in the undergraduate K to 6 program and the 6 to 8 program, you will want to take the Praxis 2 in special education. The coursework that you are taking allows you to, upon graduation, apply for a secondary certificate and license in special education. But you not only have to take the coursework, but you have to take the Praxis 2 in special education. So please, and I am happy to answer any questions about that. So if you have any, let me know. Caitlin asks, is there any help that the university provides for Praxis 2? Absolutely, Caitlin. It depends on the content area. Please email me tonight as to where you find your most greatest need, and allow me to help you connect yourself to those individuals that can provide assistance. Let's talk about moving you along in the continuum. Oh, I got a good question here. Sorry. Would you recommend taking Praxis 2 and Praxis 2 Special Education together? Probably not, Brianna. I would not. Even though the Praxis 2 Special Education examination has a 99% pass rate, it's not a very hard exam. I would not take the two together. I would take your Praxis 2 in your content area first, and then I would take your Praxis 2 in your special education. Okay. In terms of selection process, so when I say meet all requirements, that means you've met here, we've started the process. You've expressed interest. Many of you have already done that within the obvious survey that I originally sent out. You wouldn't be here tonight spending an hour with me on a Sunday evening if you were not interested. In terms of other requirements, you have that understanding that you're going to be taking Praxis 2. You are aligned to the understanding that you'll do Practicum 3 methods courses if you have them left over. If not, as well indicated, that's okay, that you'll be taking student teaching in your clinical assessment. Once we align your interest, your dedication, your desire to move along, you will be meeting with us, the College of Education Office of Clinical Studies, in person, face to face. After you interview with Wilmington University College of Ed, then there is a meeting and interview with the residency teachers. So we go from identifying your interest, identifying your commitment, interviewing and communication, meeting with the College of Ed, Office of Clinical Studies, and myself, to interviewing by mentor teachers, and then there's a final selection of candidates. Arizona, great question. When is the deadline to select year-long residency, and when do the interviews occur? Great question. I was actually about to get there, so that's good. How do we are going to be conducting, obviously, 2 sessions. One is this evening, as you know. I'll also be conducting another session on the October the 8th. It is our intent that you, as candidates who are interested, those who desire to go through the year-long residency, by November, you're going to then at least go out to the residency sites and meet the teachers, meet the sites. A good way, as an example, if you're a Kent County individual, and we're obviously at North Dover and Town Point Elementary, you're going to go out to both sites. You're going to meet the year-long residency candidates who are there right now, because we have candidates who are actively engaged. You'll meet the supervisors. You'll meet the mentor teachers. You get to ask questions. Then by late November, right after typically Thanksgiving into December, you interview with the teachers at the various sites. So if we have multiple elementary sites, you're going to interview with all of them. It's a bit of an event, if you will. It's kind of like speed dating, but it's much more important. Now, the total deadline stop dead. You're definitely going to be selected. You're moving into the residency option is when we come back in January, middle to late January. We inform everyone where they're at, where they're going, and so forth. I will tell you this. We have only refused one candidate, only one, to engage in the year-long residency option. That candidate was not a good fit, if you will, with the teachers at the school. And you have to understand, it is important, and very important, that the mentor teachers and the candidates who are selected, it's kind of like a marriage for a year. Now, or at least a solid, relationship. Now, do you want to be in a relationship for a year that is awful? Of course not. You don't, and neither do they. Now, have I had candidates who started at one school and then they interviewed at another school and were selected at the other? Absolutely. Different people, different schools, different teachers, different children. Everyone's different. We're all different. And so we need to live and breathe by that as well. So we've got some questions. So let me try to answer these. First, and I hope God, please, I'm saying it right. It's Jonna. Is it Jonah or Jonna? Are there students who are interested and go through the meetings and end up being chosen? Well, okay, that's a great question. Like I said, only one so far that we have not chosen in all of our 4 years in engaging in this residency option. And that is a good number, I think, but it also tells you about the level of dedication, commitment by the mentor teachers and also the students. Once we decide to move forward, this is a very significant decision on your part and also our mentor teacher's part as well. So Caitlin asks, after this meeting, do we need to email and tell you that this is what we want to do for sure? Well, Caitlin, I would love for you to do that, but not yet. Let us meet with your other friends, peers, colleagues who cannot attend this night. Let's wait till after 10/8. Also, it gives you an opportunity, if you are in our practicum 1, 2, or 3, that you get to meet with the candidates right now who are engaging in the process on October the 4th, and you get to ask questions of the graduates as well. These are individuals who have gone through this program. They are not going to pull any punches, and neither will I. I will be very transparent to you. This is hard work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. The benefits are great. So, Caitlin, if you could be, I know many of you are very, very anxious and very excited because I've met with you, I've talked with you, I've emailed with you. Please, this is a time frame where we want you to think, digest, gather information, talk to others, because this is a significant decision. So, a couple more questions. What happens if you get into it and you and the teacher end up not getting along well? Well, Alyssa, we have that with students who do the 80-day student teaching placement. Our traditional student teaching placement, which is a semester in length, we have that happen. We have that happen now. We have that where some of our student teachers, they start off a week or two in student teaching. The mentor teacher and the student teacher just can't form a solid enough relationship to engage in the process. Well, we place them with another mentor teacher. This option is different because you spend so much time early on. We have had that not happen here. It really is kind of, and I jokingly say speed dating, but it's kind of like that. It's almost where you get to know each other well enough in the beginning that, and you spend enough time together in the beginning that you're going to realize whether or not this is something that you want to do or not. And if it's not, then there's no skin off anybody's back, so to speak. It's not a horrific situation. You're not actually engaged in any process. And if that's not the way, it's not a connection, then we of course would work with you to find the alternate candidate, mentor teacher. Olga, what if too many people want to do this more than the amount of the grant will you received? Olga, that is a phenomenal question. Okay, and that's the question of the day, quite frankly, in terms of the stipend, the compensation. And that is a question internally as well. I am, if you will, and allow me to explain this, I am working with the National Center for Teacher Residencies currently. We are engaged in those conversations between October 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'll be going out to Chicago to meet with them individually to talk about the level of grant funding and the stipend. They'll be also coming out to us on the 16th and 18th of October to come to our year-long residency sites and also work with us some more. I cannot answer your specific questions right now, Olga, because, pardon the English grammar there, that's awful, because right now I'm still looking at the exact amount of money that will be coming through. I'm estimating about $300,000 would be a part of the compensation package that would go to our candidates. In addition, obviously, to the 50%. But you also ask a question that has been raised internally by myself and our dean, Dr. John Gray. Currently, we have candidates who are engaging in the residency with nominal payment. And when I mean nominal, we're talking about $2,000. That's all they're getting. But they're still doing this, even though there's nominal pay. And one has to ask themselves, why would 28 students who have to pay bills, who have to pay car payments, who have to pay insurance bills, why would they engage in a year-long process? And I think the questions that you should ask would be of those people who will be there October 4th, but I can tell you where the benefits are. One is you will be a second-year teacher. When you graduate and you are employed, you will be so much more prepared for that very first day of when the children arrive. The second component is what we call teacher efficacy, how comfortable you feel. Research has shown in the various programs across the country that have year-long residencies, there are not that many of them. So research is short, meaning it only goes back about 2000, that the teacher efficacy of these individuals who go through a residency program are so much more greater than their counterparts who have gone through a traditional student teaching venue or option, that they are more prepared and they're more confident in who they are as an educator. At Wilmington University, I can only speak to Wilmington University, we have a 100% retention rate. That means people who get into the program, stay into the program. And we have a 100% hire rate. That means all of the candidates from 2014 to now have not only been hired, but some were hired before they graduated because they were that good. Last, those who were hired in 2014 are still working. They were not riffed. They were not let go, even though the state of Delaware has had significant funding issues. So, Olga, long response, short question. I'm sorry. Will we get to a point where we will say there's only a finite amount of money? Yes, absolutely. Will we reduce that amount of money to try to provide as much as we can to everyone? I will do my best to find a balance between amount of money that provides a quality stipend versus allowing more candidates into the program. So this is a little off our time frame because I'm changing this. I've changed it with you. So please allow me to alter this, and I'll send this out to you. If you will, our time frame is actually pushed up. So in November, like I said, you're doing school sites. And in December, we're doing interviews. By January, end of January, you've got your mentor teacher placement. So this time frame was for our last group. Of course, we're doing fall of 18 prep. Another great question. Thank you, Bridget. Would the tuition discount be affected by the grant or just the stipend? Oh my goodness, no. This is the beauty of our new president, Dr. Laverne Harmon. Dr. Harmon will supply the tuition discount to any and all year-long residency candidates. It doesn't matter if we had this grant or not, you would receive the 50% reduction in tuition for the entire academic year. So for the entire fall 18 and spring 19 semesters, all of the coursework, you will receive that 50% reduction in tuition. So we're coming to the end, if you will, and I will obviously leave time for questions. Oh, great, good questions. Good. Is the stipend taxable? Oh, absolutely, Olga. Absolutely. This is compensation. There is no get around to taxable income. So the way that we are thinking of working this is that you would not receive your stipend in a large amount. It would be distributed or dispersed in such a manner so it would not impact your um, taxable income for one fiscal year into the other, meaning you, as the candidate, would have the option to tell us how we could then disperse this money to you. Can we get the discount if we have the Star School Scholarship? Caitlin, I've never had that question before. Can you email me that question along with the other, and I will find that out for you? That's a great question, one that I don't have an immediate answer, but I will absolutely find the answer for you. Brianna, is the stipend like a monthly paycheck? Brianna, that is something we can physically do. We have been thinking about how this stipend could be provided to candidates in monthly type of installments. It is something that I think personally is a bit of a personal decision that works with the entire year-long residency group. It would also work with our financial department here at the university, but something like that could be arranged, Brianna. And it's a great question, one that actually, ironically, and it's timely, because that's a question that I'm posing to the NCTR group when they come to visit us next month. So, in terms of our next steps, where do we go from here? Where do all you go from here? Well, first and foremost, I'm going to send electronically some additional information. We're going to go over, obviously, the 10-4 visit to practicum, the recording of the 10-4 visit, the 10-8 webinar that I'll have with your other peers who couldn't make it this evening, allowing those to digest this information as well. I think it's important that everyone takes that step to communicate to significant others, loved ones, moms, dads. Example, you want to talk to those individuals that are significant in your life to see if this is something that you will have full support with. And then after 10-8, we will get into a framework of final email notification and steps moving forward. Olga, let's see what the question is. If cost of attendance is $20,000, for example, and we receive the 50% discount, can we still apply for grants, loans up to the cost of the attendance? Oh, meaning whatever left over is your amount. Then whatever grant, stipend, Pell, whatever. I see what you're saying. You're saying that whatever is left over after you've received the 50% reduction, whatever grant or whatever Pell grant, whatever tuition, you're asking, can you use that towards that leftover amount? Is that correct? That balance? Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, it's just like paying tuition, in regards to other structures of paying a tuition, and that's applicable. Yes. So let me allow then, please, to open this up to Q's and A's, to questions and answers. Please, I'm happy to respond to any additional questions that you may have. And please know that it is absolute transparency on our end so that you have all the information to make decisions that are connected to your next steps. So either feel free to jump in on text or feel free to voice in your question. Thanks, Angela. If the Wilmue grant is 300, then only 25 students could participate at 12,000. So if there are 50 candidates, would the amount drop to 6, or is there a chance to 300 could be raised? So let's go backwards on this one. Unfortunately, the grant will not be raised. There is a cap on the amount of money per NCTR. So let's talk about this question, which is aligned to what I think Olga and also others were maybe thinking and also connecting to. Yes, we would love to have more than 25 students, obviously. The question then would be, if we increase the number of students, does the amount of stipend go down? Absolutely. So that is the question. Where do we, in working with NCTR, feasibly find or identify our cutoff? Where do we decide that we've hit a mark at which students can engage at a level of compensation? And the other question there is, what level of compensation would a candidate want to engage? As I've said, we have candidates now who are only receiving $2,000 as the compensation package, and we have 28 students. Would that mean that we have individuals present at this meeting or on the 10-8 meeting that would be willing to engage or to take or receive, a compensation package of between $6,000 and $12,000? That's a very good question, Angela, that I cannot answer right now. I think we need to see, first and foremost, how many candidates, after they ask the questions and they hear the conversation of the candidates who've graduated, and then ask other pertinent questions to time frame and commitment and so forth, that we then can identify how many candidates we're actually going to have and what that compensation package would be. Julia, I am placed at Selbyville Middle School in the Indian River School District for Practicum 1. If it works well with my host teacher there, would I be able to stay at Selbyville Middle, or would I have to move to Georgetown Middle School? Well, right now, Julia, we don't have a year-long residency program option at Selbyville. It's at Georgetown, and that is the district's decision. Right now, we're working with the district, the Indian River School District, to work with Georgetown Middle. And obviously, if possible, if we have more candidates at the middle level, could we go to Selbyville? As stated before, absolutely. We're always looking to expand, but it's a matter of where we started first. So we would go to Georgetown Middle first because that's where we started the residency site, and with Indian River at the middle level, and we would need to honor that agreement with Georgetown. So does Brianna, so does that mean you only got a 56,000 grant for this year? No, we got no money, Brianna, if I could say it that way, for this year's candidates at all. NCTR did not supply us with any money at all for our candidates this year. I actually wrote a separate grant through a separate entity to receive additional funds for this year's year-long residency candidates. So without sounding, well, let me just clearly say it. I'm in the background of all of this. My responsibility, my job as the chair of the Office of Clinical Studies is to work collaboratively with not just students. I also work with districts. I also work with legislators. I'm also working with large foundations. I think is right now the best way to say it. I can't tell you who they are, but these philanthropic nonprofit agencies that have large amounts of money that could help us, if you will, to sustain our programs. I'm working with all of these individuals right now. I'm working also then in conjunction with National Center for Teachers Residencies to move us from a what we call a grant funded program. These are soft monies. These monies go away once grants are done. Right, they're no more there. So we're trying to find a pathway, if you will, to get us moving where residency candidates are being paid for this internship through positions at the district level, meaning if you, we would actually hire you, the district would hire you, and you would complete your residency, and then you would maintain your level of hire as a teacher. So these are the things that are happening in the background. Now, are they happening right now? No. Will they happen in fall 2018? No. We're not there yet. We are in a position where we are working with all of these stakeholders. We're working with all of these individual stakeholders across the state and in other areas of the country to try to move us out of soft money, try to move us out of grant. But that $300,000 that was questioned earlier, if we can raise that, that's part of why the NCTR group is coming over here this next month, and I'm going over to Chicago to meet with them. That's something that I'm trying to work within the structure of the NCTR. If we can raise that up, then I will be the first person to let all of you know that we have more money, and that will be something that we will be very happy to announce. So that's why I'm being cautious here. And please understand my caution. I don't want to promise anybody here tonight listening to this and also the recording that we're going to have more money and that we're going to be able to provide you with a larger compensation package. That would not be right. It would be wrong. Obviously, it wouldn't be ethical to do so. So I'm trying to keep all of us in a cautious state of mind here, that we are trying our best to increase the stipend and the compensation by increasing the grant level. If we could do that, then of course, then it's all what my 13-year-old would say, it's all gravy, Dad. For our minds here, it's all about increasing the compensation level. So it's a lot, I know, Brianna, for such a what seemingly is a small question, but it's not. It's a large, entailing kind of all-encompassing question. So Arizona, moving along, I have a question pertaining to my practicum placement, so I'll save it for the end. Not a problem, Arizona. Happy to answer any question that you have. Megan, I also have a question about my practical placement. Yes, email, please, Megan in Arizona. If I go beyond time frame, please email me. I'll be on later this evening answering emails. I have some I need to complete, and I'd be happy to respond to yours. Most of you know that I probably don't have a life, and I email way too late at night, which is okay. It happens. Stephanie, I missed the deadline for Practicum 2 for spring 18. Would I be allowed to apply in order to, oh, I see what you're saying. You missed the application deadline. We do have a late application, Stephanie. If you email me tonight, I will email you the late application. It is ending actually next week. After that, we cannot take any more applications for spring placement. As you can imagine, all of you that are listening, with the removal of Praxis Core and the Praxis 1 by the state of Delaware, we have a lot of students who are coming back who want to get back into their clinical components of their program. Jordan, I have not started my practicum yet. Could I speak with you? Absolutely. Let's talk soon, Jordan. Send me an email, and you and I can create a schedule for a conversation. Miriam, how do you know if your application for spring is submitted? Oh, Miriam, send me an email. I can go logging into TaskStream, and I can check your status. These are wonderful questions. Thank you for them. Please keep them coming. One of my classmates mentioned that she heard when you are a student teaching, you are not allowed to have a job. Is that correct? Well, Angela, they are, well, that's a yes and no kind of question. Now, you are student teaching Monday through Friday. When you are doing the 80-day traditional student teaching placement, your 80 days, that's Monday through Friday, Can you work Monday through Friday? No, you're not going to be able to, because when you leave the schoolhouse, it'll probably be 4:30, 5 o'clock, depending on when your mentor teacher leaves. That mentor teacher is going to give you work to do that night. You'll have work to do every single night. In addition, you have the PPAT to complete that student teaching semester. You will be very busy. Will you be able to work during the weekends? Well, that would be what most student teachers do. That's what I did. I bartended and was actually, if I can say this out loud, I was a disc jockey. I was a DJ during my student teaching. That was a very long time ago. But that's how I paid my way through, if you will. During the day, though, Monday through Friday, I was dedicated and committed on to my student teaching placement. I need to check student. Okay, just email me. Absolutely, John. Yeah, please email me. I'd be happy to check on the status of that application process. Obviously, for the year-long residency folks, when you are doing this for the entire academic year, from August all the way to the end of May to June, you're not working, obviously, and that's why we have this. We're looking at this compensation, these ideas of compensating individuals. Any other questions? These were just phenomenal. I am, quite frankly, very proud of you. Thank you so much. It feels good to know that we have students such as yourself who ask great questions. Hypothetically speaking, if less people signed up than expected, would we get? Oh, absolutely. Oh, here's the trick of this, though. Okay, Olga, and I again will be very transparent. NCTR and their grant is based on the fact that we are going to have 25 students. So that is our goal. We must have 25 students participate and engage in the year-long residency for fall of 2018. Now, if we go by past history, the year before and this year, we're going to make that mark because we had 25 and 28 students. We have 25 last year, 28 this year, and they're getting a nominal, stipend of $2,000. I have no problem. I am not concerned that we're not going to hit that mark. So if we don't get 25, though, then that's a problem with NCTR. Again, I'm confident that we will have that number. And that's being completely transparent, Olga. I don't want to beat around the bush on that one. What if during the year-long residency, Angela, so you're sick for a day or need to get, that's an awesome question. Very good. So, Angela, in this capacity as a year-long residency candidate, you may recall I said that you're identified as a co-teacher. And as such, you then can and have that kind of flexibility that the classroom teacher does. She or he will be out. They will get ill. They're going to get sick. Their kids are going to get sick. The dog's going to get sick. They're going to take a day or two. They may take 4 or 5. I mean, folks, I've had my own. I've had my 1 year teaching. It was a long time ago. I had the flu and I was down a whole week. I was down 5 days. I mean, it's going to happen to you. Do we understand that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what we don't and where we're not flexible is what we call nonsense absences, right? I mean, nonsense absences. My nail broke. I had to go buy a brand new pair of shoes. I'm being silly, obviously. You get that. Hopefully that's someone's laughing out there in cyberspace with me somewhere. Angela, what I mean is we support our candidates. Well, thank you. Good. At least one. We support you 100%. If you get sick, which you will, I'm going to tell you, everybody in the year-long residency program, all of them you're going to get something from ringworm all the way to probably, a sinus infection. You're going to get sick, folks. You're going to be a day or two out. That's okay. Now, I have something to say to that. And Angela, thanks for bringing that up to me. It's the reverse as well. If your mentor teacher is out sick, you get to sub for him or her, and you get paid for it. So there's a benefit there as well. Okay, we're nearing our, well, it is nice. We're probably beyond the 8 o'clock hour, which we are. Okay, and Emilio, right? Emilio, I have many questions. What if I email you? I have to put the kids to bed. Thank you for Emilio. I also have kids too. Trust me. I'm a single father of 4 children. One's really old and she's off to college. The other 3 here are with me as well. And I'm in the same boat. I've got to put them to bed soon for school as well. And I think that if you not only have individual questions, if you would like to arrange a phone call with me, I think you all know that I'm rather responsive in nature, and I would be happy to arrange a one-on-one phone call with you. It's my pleasure to do so. So please know that. So either an email or you just email Mr. Wells, can we talk? Can I have a phone call session? Absolutely. Fair warning, I'm going to be rather busy over the next couple of weeks. As you can imagine, I'm like going to Chicago. People are coming here. Oh, and that's another thing too, really interesting stuff. The state of Ohio and their respective state superintendent, their secretary of education, they'll be visiting us as well next month because they're interested, the entire state is interested in our little program here at Wilmington University called the year-long residency. This is an innovative program, and I want you to know that engaging in this program equates to a higher level of professionalism. So, at any rate, folks, oh yes, absolutely, yes, Angela. Allow me to speak to the other peers after 10/8, October 8th, because it allows everyone who's in practicum right now to meet and greet the graduates of the year-long residency program. They get to talk to them, and I think that's important too. And please know, I don't want any of you to make a decision. I want you to engage in those conversation with the candidates who've graduated. They will tell you firsthand. It's one thing for me to tell you something, but a past student I think is so much more powerful. So yeah, wait, please wait. I mean, unless you know that this is really what you want to do, then send me an email. I'm okay with that. But I think you should wait. I think you should talk to mom and dad. I think you should talk to your loved one, your significant other. I think you should really engage in that conversation. But this is an important decision by all of you. Okay? All right, it's 8 o'clock, folks. Some I know have kids, it's time to go to bed. Others, like I, have some work to do. And I am happy to stay on a few more minutes longer to answer any individual questions. If not, thank you so much. I'll send you the recording via your Blackboard course in Practicum. Look forward to the 10-4 session in Practicum. And to all, thank you for participating. Your level of engagement is phenomenal. Well, phenomenal. You're just wonderful students. Thank you. Yes, Arizona. Actually, I reached out to Mrs. Wiley about that as well. And I know originally, if I'm not mistaken, you had asked for Indian River School District. Was that still the district that you are seeking placement in, Arizona, or was there a change from Indian River? And Arizona, you could chime in with voice as well if it's easier for you. Oh, okay, capital. And that's probably why you haven't received that response. Okay, I'm actually talking to the HR director. Her name is Mary Cook, and also the superintendent of capital. tomorrow or Tuesday, Arizona, allow me to reach out and work with that. There may be an issue from Mary Cook as to the placement, Arizona, and please forgive me being logged on in this capacity. I can't review my records. Are you elementary? Are you middle level, secondary, Arizona? I'm sorry, I would look it up myself, but being logged in this way, I would show, you wouldn't want me to show your student record to the to everybody here. So just tell me your program. And while we're waiting, Brianna, Cassidy, Jordan, do you have any questions? Oh my goodness, Brianna. Of course. Oh my, don't worry about that. Yes, yes. For our online section, I do. Of course, don't worry about that. And the other side of that, Brianna, is I'm willing to stay on a little bit later to if you have any questions about our course. So it's not a big deal. Oh, that's okay, Arizona. Go ahead and type it in. Just type in your program. I think I know what the issue is, and like I said, I'm going to be speaking to the HR director and the assistant superintendent tomorrow from Capital, and I'd be happy to. Jordan, for my Jordan, I've not been regarding your placement for spring. I'm sorry, Jordan, I don't follow. You mean your application for practicum for spring? Oh, I mean, if you're saying in terms of this January and the placements for January, if that's what you mean, we're still working on the applications that were submitted for January. So we will be communicating out after September 30th as to our process, and then also connections with the districts for placements. I don't know if that answers your question though, Jordan. I'm sorry. I hope it does. Oh, very good. Okay, so just yeah. Oh, yeah. You're fine. You've got a yes, yes, yes. The team is still obviously compiling information from the applications. We do have a late application that's, as you probably heard me say earlier, and they're finalizing everything right now. We should be ready to be communicating to candidates after September 30th. So you're good to go. You'll be fine. You're fine. So if Jordan and Cassidy, if there aren't any other questions, um, I'm okay. Let me jump over here. So, Cassidy, just did a couple minutes ago. Can we request a specific school for year-long? Well, that's a good question. It's not so much a request, but it's more so a geographic location, Cassidy. And also, you may have missed the process where it's an interview process. It's more so about not requesting a specific school. It's about the interview process and if the teachers, if the student fits with the respective school site. Let me ask you this question, Cassidy. What geographic location are we? Newcastle, Kent, or Sussex County? And again, Cassidy, I'm the way I'm logged in here on my computer system, I can't bring up your program because I'll show too much information and that would be unethical. So can you just tell me, are you undergraduate, K to 6? Are you middle level? Are you secondary, graduate program? Which program are you in, Cassidy? Oh, okay. So you would be looking at the following elementary schools. We would be at Ritchie Elementary, we would be Shortledge Elementary, we would be looking at Eisenberg Elementary, and there's also Cedar Lane Elementary in the Appoquinimink School District. So it's those four specific elementary schools currently that are year-long residency schools or sites for elementary level programs. All right, Cassidy. And you know what, Cassidy, too, that you jumped in a few minutes ago? I've recorded this entire session. So please be happy to know that I'm going to place this in certain locations and then you can access it and watch over the parts that you missed. And then if you have any questions, I want you to email me directly and I'm happy to either set up a voice conversation or, I can send you an email, whatever works best for you, Cassidy. Okay, Arizona. So thank you. Okay. All right. Let me then Arizona. Like I said, I'm connecting with Mary Cook and oh goodness, Sylvia Henderson. She's the assistant super. I'll have this resolved for you tomorrow, latest by Tuesday. I appreciate your patience. And it may be because of that switch over from Indian River to Capital. And Capital is, I'm going to be very transparent too, Capital is kind of slow. Arizona. Not your fault. I know you're in my class. Don't worry about it. You and I can work out a time frame. I'm not worried about that at all. Placement obviously equates to moving forward, and I get that. So don't worry about our time frame from the other things that need your placement to be established. You and I can work together. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to assume that we're all done. Jordan, I know you're still on as well. Are you, Jordan? Do you have any other questions for me? Arizona yourself, any questions? Okay.